here. And we may or may not have people joining us, and that's okay. It's A-okay.
But a lot of people watched it though.
Yes. Yeah.
Afterwards.
Thank you, Joanne.
Nice.
You are so positive.
Well, it's not all the time, but I show a good front. No.
We'll talk about that. So I'm just going to take a minute here to share it out to anybody else that wants to. And I want to check in with how you're feeling. So if you want to just, if there's anything coming up, you want to reflect, you can just go right ahead.
I'm good. I went swimming. I went for my walk on the beach, so I'm good.
Good. And what does that mean? That you feel better?
Yes, it's like I watched my last night.
That's scary, huh?
Yes. No, it did good. No, but I don't know what you want me to say, but I'm good.
I don't want you to say anything. You can say whatever you want to say.
I should say. But no.
So
I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm happy with my past, where I can go visit and see the big steps I made to get where I'm at today.
Good. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to. That was ultimately my goal with tonight, was to, like our first night, just, it's a little different without being in a group. But I liked how it flowed because we kind of still went through the modules in our own kind of divine timing. And then tonight I want it to be a little bit more of that reflection on things that came up, essentially. So we don't need to make it heavy. We don't need to bring up all the stuff all over again, because it feels like it's more of that integration time of kind of like opening up new doors and that sort of thing, and really thinking about maybe some future steps, stuff like that, but not in a way that's like overwhelming, I guess, like finding ways to make it easy and joyful for you moving forward, whatever that looks like, whether you choose to come into this space for the program or you don't. Coming into this space is, we're here to showcase what's going on with the program, but also help you and support you at the same time with whatever that looks like. So I just want to make sure that when it comes to gratitude, do you feel like you've grasped gratitude? Is that something you understand and have already been doing and are going to continue doing?
Yes, and yes. No, I've it's like I was saying, I was doing the steps prior to these meetings, and today when I stopped and rewatched, and then even when I was like at the mall or wherever I was like, wow, how I am grateful for everything I went through, because I am who I am today. And I'm happy of who I am today. I said that yesterday too. Yeah. So I think the grasping the part of gratefulness, something I've been working on for a time.
Good. So when you do gratitude, do you do like thank you, like prayers, or do you just stop to breathe and more of like a meditation to become present, or how do you do your gratitude?
It depends. It's like if I'm trying to, depends where I'm at really, because if I'm happy and I'm happy to be alive and I'm grateful for everything I have, I can be dancing, like I can be walking on the beach and just being grateful, just being there and being grateful and saying thanks. But when I say thanks, of course, my eyes go up towards the sky and thank you to the gods upstairs. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. So it's funny because yesterday, just to reflect back, we talked about the sky and looking up and things like that. So it's interesting that you brought that up. And also just about being present. Being Do you struggle with being present?
Yes.
Okay. I had a feeling. And so do you find it interesting that the fish oil was coming up so much? Like all about like nutrition and things like that?
I'm not surprised.
Do you relate to that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I even was looking up stuff like not so much depression, but the AD, like things related to ADHD and just like that not being able to focus feeling
Yes.
and like allowing your mind to go into weird places. It's just
Yes.
I found it so fascinating when I did actually research on it, because when we went into the Akashic Records last night, I really got that fish oil, and you were talking about you feel more free when you aren't in pain and things like that. So really we weren't so much talking about money as much as we focused on abundance last night, it felt like, which to me is really about happiness, and you keep bringing that up. So the reason why ADHD was kind of, I feel like, coming up is because that's when we can't really, I feel like, concentrate, and we get that kind of restlessness of maybe not being able to sleep and things like that. So does that happen to you?
Well, not the sleeping less, but I do know I am ADHD or ADD or whatever. I can't sit still. Like,
Yeah.
it's getting worse with age, which
Yeah.
is why um, I'm working on it.
Yes. And that's okay. But like when we went into the records, and this is why, even though that's why I'm kind of like still learning how I'm structuring this, because it just depends on people, right? Like, because we can change things according to the people. But what I was channeling or tuning into for the modules were what I chose. And I brought my painting again tonight because I tuned into the painting for whoever was supposed to be on here as well. So that's kind of just how I work, and I can't help but feel like because I have a little bit of that ADHD too. So I can't help but feel like that's kind of how you operate too, is that even though you might struggle with being present, you're still quite intuitive and live according to that. Do you say?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. So that's like kind of the positive of, like, you might have a negative thing going on, but you're able to see the positive, which is great. So that kind of brings us into gratitude. Like, it's really, your cup is half full, not half empty, and you do your best to stay present, but it sounds like you might struggle with that. So I'm just taking note of that. But the fish oil, if you don't take that, I mean, that's your choice. But I would say really connect to nutrition, or get more support with nutrition, because it's amazing how it's connected to our brain and our heart and those really important chakras, right?
Oh, it's yes to all. It's easier saying
Yeah.
that. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So have you struggled with nutrition as well?
At some point, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I am working on it. I love baking, but I've started working with healthier ingredients.
Good.
So that is, my meat is all fresh from farms. Like, as far as my food is like sugar, I've been like, normally I drink a double, but now it's with honey. So I've noticed even in my size and in my, I don't know, it's feel a lot better since I've cut out sugar.
Good.
So,
Awesome.
but I have
So
a long road ahead.
you what?
I have a long road ahead.
No, you don't. And that's why
Not a
that's
long road. I'm
well,
halfway there.
that's what we're working on tonight, is not feeling like it's overwhelming or heavy to move forward with the positive, healthy habits. And so I feel like it does tie into money as well, because when we feel happy and confident, then opportunities kind of come our way. You notice like people flock to you more because they're connected to your energy. And when you're not in your head, people tend to be that way too. So it's like we make those choices. And some people might not feel like that's a choice, but I feel like you're working on your awareness of your thought patterns or your awareness of your energies so that you can essentially get to those bigger things that you want. Like whatever it is, if it's more time near the ocean, or if it's more going to more retreats, or whatever it is, if it's your business, that sort of thing. But it feels like when you feel better, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. But so it's like one foot in front of the other, like reorganizing what's most important priority wise. But it's also sometimes we say, oh, like I'll do this once I'm here. And then it feels like far away and we never really get there either.
Yes.
Do you find that happens too?
Yes. But it's like I say, I am proud of myself, and I'm proud of myself for how far I've come.
Okay, perfect. So that kind of continues.
And I know I'm going to get where I want to go to.
Right. So that's going to kind of bring you back into gratitude, but then also reminding yourself of things like if it's your I am statements, or for people that don't know, like I am statements is just affirming what you want to feel so that you can bring that feeling into the now. And those are, when I said for module 2, like rituals or prayers or the law of attraction, it's really just inviting positive energy into your space, but finding little like routines that work for you, or strategies or tools, which I would call a ritual. But just like this repetitive thing that you continue to do and you find it productive, essentially. So do you have stuff like that?
What do you mean?
Well, do you have like do you do I am statements or?
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, because I was like, okay, she's talking about statements. In the morning, I come in my room and I do my my stretches, and I do my but like the past week or so I haven't, and I have to get back into it. But I normally come here and do my stretches and do my thankfulness and send energy to those who need it.
Good.
And then I have my rituals of going walking. And when I'm stressed or I'm overwhelmed, I go walking.
That's what I kind of thought you were going to say, because I've noticed just online that you are doing morning card readings. So that would be a ritual.
Okay.
And chances are, even though I said for the module 2 that it's like prayer, it doesn't have to be a prayer, but that you might set an intention of some sort, which I can't help but feel like when you do your card pulls, you're probably also setting daily intentions.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was your homework as well, was more asking and communicating with the universe, similar to a prayer. If there are things that you'd like to attract, that starts to come in. So did you do that?
Yes, while I was walking, I was doing, but then I got sidestepped and my ego got in the way, and it kind of, so that's why when I came back, I rewatched our session of yesterday and tried to, because there's too much traffic. No.
Become more aware.
Yes.
And so I'm glad that you're saying that, because the whole point of this is the reason why we spread this out. Like I'm doing the condensed version and still kind of like talking about a program, but in our actual program, this would be spread out over a period of time with integration and extra support and that like one-on-one time, etc. Because like as you attempt to do something, that's where we want to have emotions come up, because like I'm giving you that homework so that things will come up so we can clear it. So you're not like, there's no pressure to do it right, it's supposed to be to guide you to have more things happen. Like you're supposed to get sidestepped is what I'm saying.
Yes.
So that you
Plus,
can
I got
become
the
more
proof
aware.
myself today, and I was able to be
Good.
there and feel the water and feel, you know, I'm working on trying to be like just be at that space.
Mhm. And it feels like
I
content.
realize that it's a work that should take longer than a day.
Well, yes, and it feels like contentment. Contentment is what you're working on. Like we can say happiness. Happiness sometimes is an emotion like, oh my God, I can't wait to like, I don't know, buy an ice cream or something like that because I've been craving an ice cream and you know, somebody gave me money for ice cream. We'll just say that inner child. But that's an excitement, that's a happy feeling, right? It doesn't, and we talked about that last night too, that you don't always have to be happy, right? We can feel what we're feeling. So it's happiness is just an emotion that doesn't really last. Just
No.
like sadness, hopefully. And I think our ultimate goal is like, yeah, stay on the happy plane, and don't stay on the depression plane. But the energy of contentment is honestly, it's a practice that continues to happen as we learn to release the things that are coming up and then continue to be aware and then be more mindful of what we would like. And it's a lot of trial and error, I guess. Like it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Somebody was just trying to get on, Paulette. But she disappeared. Maybe she thought she couldn't get on. So yes, that's what's coming up. You're saying be, and I want to use your words, but what I'm getting is to be content. So when you think about, and actually Paulette watched last night, which was great because she did want to come on.
Okay.
And she did a really cool thing in our membership group. She actually like wrote down a bunch of things that came up for her last night, like about what calming meant for her. And
Oh, fun.
yeah,
But
and
I don't see that if I'm not on your group, right?
right, but that's why we'll see if she comes back on. Maybe she'll be catching us live and can hear us. But yeah, so I just feel like some of these suggestions can be helpful even to watch this later as well, right? Like if you're in the present moment, we're not kind of connecting all the dots. I do find, like you said, when you reflect on it more afterwards, some of the things I'm saying will trigger some new stuff for you. So when we do these things, you can catch the replays if you don't feel like you're not in the mood to even attend, or you want to go back and kind of like continue to watch them later on as you've moved out of that too. So if you want to close your eyes, just want to get into a space. Again, I'm going to keep repeating a lot of the same things so we can start to get a flow. We're going to come into a state of gratitude and just quietly, I'm going to get you to say 3 things, because we did that last night too, but quietly this time in your mind, what you're grateful for, whatever's coming to your mind. And this time we're going to pay a little bit more attention to our breath because today we're working on being present, being more aware of your present state, especially where we're working on health. It might be, oh, I think I have like a bellyache or a back pain. So the only way we can change it is by becoming aware of it. So again, just noticing where you might be feeling anything in your body or what's coming up. And don't judge it if you can. We're not going to analyze. We're just going to notice and observe. So it's almost like doing a body scan. If you go into your chakras, what's going on in the throat right now? And we're going to set an intention this time. So we're going into rituals. and the law of attraction by setting an intention and just getting in the habit of gratitude and then intention. Because we're more likely to attract our intention when we're in a state of gratitude, because we're more open to receiving, as we also talked about last night. So setting an intention. And again, don't even judge your intention. We tend to want to judge if that's a good intention. So, especially where we have those hyperminds. Just coming into a state of relaxation, whatever that looks like for you. If that's grabbing a crystal or lighting some sage or putting your hand on your heart. So as we start to raise our vibration and appreciate our breath and our physical bodies just the way that they are, and we start to accept that. If you believe in prayer, you can go deeper than an intention. You can just really go up to whatever dimensions, planes you need to, and just transition there and open yourself up to any type of dialogue that you might feel like you need support with. And I'm inviting this to be for yourself. More self-care, more focus on you. I'm just really asking the universe for whatever you need support with. Reminding yourself to breathe. And just noticing how your heart feels now when you do this. Noticing if you feel light or heavy. And
I
then
feel surrounded.
grounded, perfect.
Surrounded.
Good. And then surrounded?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same thing, grounded, surrounded.
Oh, no, maybe not. If you call in a support team, which some people do, you might feel more presence with you. We also have a new person joining us, Paulette.
Yes, I've seen.
So the next step, so we do gratitude, set intention, go into more of that prayer, communication, support. And that way we feel a little more trusting that whatever's happening is kind of okay, more of that safety factor. And then we're also working on little goals as well. So last night it really felt like more on health. Like health seemed to be a big factor. Because
Yes.
when we're healthy, then we're happy. And when we're happy, everything seems to just get better. It's always the icing on the cake, right? Like all of a sudden people want to give you things or people want to help you more, things like that, because you're in the open, receptive state and you're seeing things as opportunities and you're saying yes to. So now I'm going to also get you to think about a small goal that could potentially happen over the next half an hour. That's how small it is. Could be in the next 5 minutes. But just set a small goal, baby steps. And it could be related to last night, or it could be related to anything that's come up for you already. Leave it open.
Would it be like setting up an appointment with somebody that asks to come? Is that a goal?
It can be anything you want. It can be anything. So I want to give you an example. So I was playing tennis a couple of days ago with my mom, and I was starting to practice some of these things. I actually was just saying the word gratitude. It's like gratitude. It just seemed like a energy that I wanted to vibrate. So I just said it. And then I was like, thank you. And it seemed to be another positive word. So when I came into that state, then I called in my angels, because that's a ritual for me. We're all a little different. And I was like, I think I need to call in my support team here. And then, this is all me playing tennis. And then the next step was like, okay, baby goal. It's, I want to win this next point. Like, it's like immediately, like, this is like looking in front of the next step. I want to win this next point. It's like, okay, cool. I won the point. Good. Thank you. So it's just kind of like going back to reminders, I guess. And then I'm like, no, I want to win this entire set. Like, I need to win, because that was just what I was creating, right? And my mom's very competitive, so I didn't feel badly doing that, because that's our fun thing. She'd be proud of me. So I felt good about the goal that I was setting. I was like, I want to win this set. So I went from the winning the point to wanting to win the set, and I ended up winning. Often what happens is we forget to go back to like square one, which is saying thank you after it happened. And that's kind of about coming back into the present state. So otherwise I feel like we get a little too far, and it's like, okay, now I want to win the next game. And it's like, okay, well, like, now you can take a little break and chill out and say thank you and, appreciate. So I think that's kind of what we're working on tonight, is just allowing things to kind of settle after something really great has happened, so that we can take that little bit of rest and recharge as well. Otherwise, we start to burn out. And we also talked about that, where we feel like we took some time off, and then, oh, we need to make up for lost time. Because money and time essentially are the same thing, right? So we're all wired a little different. So you might want to just take a moment here, whatever pops up for you, just creating a small goal for you over the next half an hour. It could just be a word or an emotion, or you can be really specific. It's up to you. And then module 4, which is what we're starting on, is manifesting action. So what we're doing is we're attracting actual action steps. So even as simple as by creating an intention, you're already kind of attracting action steps.
Yes.
But a lot of times it's trusting the signs and the symbols. We also talked about that with seeing the birds and like all of these little things that are kind of, you're like, oh, okay, I'm seeing a bird, or I'm seeing the animal at the zoo, or whatever it is, and I'm just getting like that connection or that feeling. That's what we want to pay closer attention to, is after we've done some of these things, we took the time to raise our vibration, and we've set intentions, and we feel supported. Then by creating a timeline on it, like over the next half an hour, this is what I want, we can kind of start to measure the things that we're experiencing as well, so that we don't feel like we need to stress as much, I guess, and we can reward ourselves for really small things. So we also want to pay attention to the signs, because if we don't, then we might be staying in that questioning state of like, am I really manifesting this? And yeah, so it's like we're not getting the proof that we need. And as humans, we have that tendency to want proof. So that's where specifics can come in handy. So trust that when you set that small goal, that you'll manifest action steps, but you also want to like find a little bit of symbolism or get a little bit more specific. Okay, so that's what we want to do now, is pay attention again to what that goal was, either the emotion, what it is that you wanted. And then we also want to create, like, we want to manifest an action step. So like, how do you want to attach yourself to like the feeling? Do you want this to come in immediately? Do you want this to come in very softly? Do you want this to come in through having an aha moment? Do you want it to come in through like a word? So that's where it feels like set yourself up for more symbolism and be a little bit more specific, because then you're going to notice that you're the boss and you're in a lot more control than you actually realize. But you have to, again, ask for these things, but then you also want to create a little bit of action as well. So it's like, okay, I want this, I want that. This is how it's going to be. So does that make sense?
Well, while you were explaining,
Yeah.
my first goal came again, because I've had one in between, thinking like now we use excuses or we use crutches and stuff. If I'm talking about my goals, I want to get clients here, but if I want clients here, I have to open up my door.
Okay. So do you see how also it's creating more dialogue for like by you saying that?
Oh yes.
Trusting that, and then it's like,
My
okay,
head
now,
is
now we're
itching.
gonna clear it. Okay, so you said it's so if you could identify we're gonna say the block, because that's the next module is healing what is broken. And I don't like to word it that way, but that's kind of what's coming up, is like if there's a break in something, like something that needs to be put back together, that's what we want to focus on. So if you can specifically identify with what you feel like you is not together the way you would like it to be, what is that? If you're specific.
It's what we have planned for the weekend, setting up the other room.
Okay. Is that you and your husband, you mean?
Well, it's me saying he's home Saturday, so we're gonna clean the other room.
Okay. Okay. So you just want to initiate more sacred space?
Yes.
Okay. Something like that. Okay. But you right now you feel what?
Well, right now I'm overwhelmed because I'm thinking if I think of the more of the space, then I'm getting overwhelmed because we weren't supposed to be here this summer, and you know how it goes. So, but for right now, my goal within the next 10 minutes is to get clients booked or asked to get booked and get clients in the room that is ready.
Okay. Perfect. Good. So we're just going to, so Paulette, I'm going to get you to do the exact same thing. It's just identify with anything that's also coming up for you that's blocked or not together the way you'd like it to be. And do you want to share?
Yeah, it's actually funny. It's funny because as you're saying that, I wrote down, well, let's create a friendly environment for my clients, and then underneath that, like to be more specific, you said fix what's broken. Remains to build my stairs, and then under that, finish building my front deck. So that is the goal.
Okay.
These are the steps.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Thank you for sharing how when we work on money and abundance, our space is exceptionally important, because when we have a lot of blocks, it often is in our space that we're in because of how we feel in that space. So when we same thing, trust that we're gonna if we set that intention, like I want my space to be exactly the way like I want to feel, again setting that intention, then you might find that that's more likely to happen as well. So just being mindful of that too. But yeah, you guys are right on with the space. Like if your space isn't good, then nothing is good. And it also, it's your wallet too, your purse, things like that. It's your car. Because it all is a representation of things that you're experiencing. So I just want to remind you of that if you feel called to organizing something specific, even if it's not a room, but you feel guided to going somewhere else, just trust that as well, because it shows up in weird ways. So do you guys want to just take a moment here after we identified all of this stuff? I just want you guys to just relax your bodies. And again, we're going to do the same thing as last night, just letting go of the ego, all judgment in the space, relaxing the mind. Joanne's probably still in her records because I didn't guide her out of them. And we're going to access the light and all knowledge and wisdom in this space. I'm going to set the intention to go into the Akashic Records for, when I'm stating your name. And then just taking a really deep breath. And again, just checking in with your heart, how your heart's feeling when you come into the space. And I'm going to even invite you to explore the space, because we're just talking about the energy of space. And notice how your space feels when you're in this energy. If you're gravitating even right now towards something or a different emotion, would you like to let go of any of these emotions that are coming up for you that are blocking you from attracting these intentions, these goals, these things that you're manifesting? And if so, just say yes.
Yes.
Would you like to know that it's safe to open yourselves up to these new things that you say that you want? And let's also invite more peace into your space as well. So it's not just all these things I have to do. It's I get to do this with, and like instill peace in the space at the same time. So when you go to take action steps, you can actually enjoy and appreciate the little tiny things that you're doing, so you can get a little more detail oriented, so that when your energy's guiding you to signs or symbols, you can really I just get like appreciate that it's there. Not just say thank you, but just appreciate that it's there, because it's not just stuff. There's energy in it, and these are things that you want. These are things that you have. So would you like all that too?
Yes.
And I'm getting that there's someone in particular that has like an outdoor space too. So I don't know if that's Paulette, or are you also working on your outdoor space?
My outdoor space is kind of a mess because we lifted the house and it's like a huge major construction.
Yeah.
So my mind is like all over the place because it really, these things are important to me, I guess. So it gets me, yeah.
Okay.
So slowly we're cleaning out the space, and it's just taking a lot of time. Yeah, but with love, I see what can be, right? So it's just to have patience.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, our last module, so module 6 in the program, is all about that productivity doesn't define you. So that's interesting, because here you guys are like choosing things that are, it's about like your space and things you have to do, but things that you want to do. But like you said, you're learning about patience and slowing down. And we're talking about mindfulness and contentment and things like that, because it's learning how to not be so distracted by things that we're not happy with either. Do you agree with that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Because I know, Paula, you said you like things to be pretty.
I know, yeah, I do.
So does it bother you when things are ugly?
Well, in my even gardening, I'll have a smaller garden in order to be able to keep up, because if it gets all weedy and all, it really, yeah, it throws me off. I guess I'm a little bit OCD when it
Yeah.
comes to that.
Yeah, but in a way, you're doing a great job because it sounds like you know how to pace yourself. So you're
Right.
like, well, I'd rather be happy with something small that I can maintain that I know looks nice than
Exactly.
do all this other stuff and not be able to, like, it feels like life work balance kind of thing.
Right.
So you're like, okay, well, I know I have all these other things to do. So this, I'll start here. And then if it chooses to get bigger over time, then it does. But if it doesn't, I'm still happy with it. But it also might be that you might like aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
So
painting and
yeah,
building. Yeah.
well, that's
Like
good.
artistically, like I don't paint on canvas, but I love painting my house. I love I love doing those things. Working with my yeah.
So I kind of get that. Yes, patience makes sense. But I also feel like the element of fire is important. So, like, because it feels like passion is really important for you, like to do things that you like to do and not to do things that you don't like to do. And just reminding yourself that that's a choice, and that depends on your upbringing. But some people say, like, life's not about like pleasure, life is about work. And then, like, when you finish work, then you get to have pleasure. Like, it's not one or the other. So, how do you kind of live your life?
Um, I'm the one that sets goal and I don't like to have them not met. So like you
Mhm,
said, smaller goals that I can reach.
mhm,
So yeah, and I am a fire sign. I'm a Leo.
mhm.
So I do, yeah, have a
Yeah,
lot of passion in the
right.
things I love.
Right. And it's also kind of like it feels like a mentality too. This could be old, but if you've been around people or if you've grown up with people that have a different mindset than you, that can change yours possibly quickly too, because if like you're exposed to that, then that's kind of what you become. So we don't want to put you in a box. We want you to feel like the world is your oyster, right? And
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm getting, is that if you like aesthetics and you like things to be pretty, you don't have to limit it by it being small. You just want to work on, well, how can I take this and apply it everywhere else too?
yeah,
So,
I want to feel like everything's pretty.
right. And it's
Like,
like spread out the positive energy, spread out the love. So it's not like in one aspect, it's everywhere. Because
everywhere.
if one person is unhappy with their work, then sometimes that trickles into their relationship and they say, oh, well, like my work is different than my relationship. But often they all go hand in hand because it's part of your life, it's your lifestyle, right?
Right.
Otherwise we start to become almost cut off to emotions, or like, oh my god, I'm finished my work day and now like I'm off work, so I don't need to think about work. And that's kind of some people's mentality too. But I feel like if we want to thrive and enjoy our lives, then it's about really integrating all of it together as a whole and saying, okay, if I like these things, how can I sprinkle a little bit of that fairy dust everywhere I go, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, for
Okay,
sure.
so that just feels like it's about re-energizing I'm getting like almost your nervous system, so that you feel like you have the energy to do all those things. Because if it feels like too much, like that's probably because up here it feels like too much. So it's breaking everything down into bite-sized pieces and being like, oh, this feels like a fun thing to do. Ooh, and then I get to do this. And then you're like, yeah, I think I have enough time and energy to do all of these things. And if I don't, then I'll figure it out tomorrow and I won't worry about it. So I think it's just about getting that momentum going to do the things that you want to do. And sometimes that's eliminating the things that you don't want to do. instead of telling yourself you have to do it because that's what the responsible adult does.
Right.
So do you see anything in the painting? It's okay if you don't. My lighting's horrible too.
And I'm on my phone, so I'm trying to.
Okay. Even color.
Yeah, well, the yellow pops out, and I see a little heart, but it's upside down.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And
Okay.
I see an eyeball, but I don't know.
An eyeball. Okay. Yep. So the way I see the eyeball is like your third eye, your intuition. I see the heart as your passion. And then I see the yellow as your confidence and your happiness. And so it's really, how do I apply how do I put that all together, right? How can I be intuitive and passionate and happy and confident all at the same time? And not,
I don't know.
yeah. And it's like, sometimes I'm intuitive. Other times, you might feel insecure about things, stuff like that. But it's really, it feels like bringing it all into one, like this is who I am all the time. Ooh, and I'm getting gassy all of a sudden too. So I feel like there's a lot in there. I feel like you probably have a lot more passion than even you're giving yourself credit for. And you probably know what some of those passions are, but there might be even more passions in there that you haven't even tapped into yet because you're probably just starting to open up to those types of things. You think?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's great because you just finished a program, didn't you?
Yeah, 2 years.
Mhm.
Therapy. It kind of consumed me for the last 2 years.
Mhm.
So, and now I'm like at a standstill. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm. Well, congratulations. That's exciting.
Yes. Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, it's like I said, I finished in January, but then I was still studying for my exam, for my board exam. But now that's all done. And
Good.
then I have to wait 8 weeks
Mhm.
for the result. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a matter of slowing down and just enjoying
Mhm.
moment right now. So I'm trying to figure out ways to keep busy.
Okay, so it's so funny because you're using the word be busy, and then we've got Joanne who wants to be. I'm just saying. And yeah.
And we're both Leos, so.
Oh, there you go. And we're all fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Iron.
So do you want to, I just want to do some downloads here in this space. Do you want to let go of all the negative, heavy stuff that's come up for you? Any type of overwhelm or anything to do with like your program that you've been taking, or any type of feeling of like, I'm not going to get this done, or this isn't going to happen, or this person's not doing this, or I have to do this, or any feelings of like have to feelings.
Control.
Yeah, we can add that in there. Any tendencies to want to be perfect or want to organize to the point where you've lost touch with your intuition. Any blocks, again, that feeling of not having it all together yet, the feeling of being incomplete or something not being solid enough yet, or any types of indecisiveness or energy that you thought you were doing the right thing and then it turned out not to be the right thing and you didn't finish the task. So any procrastination, any feelings of wanting something and then it just not coming to fruition and giving up or getting disappointed, or the feeling of hardship of having to let go of things that you used to love as well. That could be pets or animals, doesn't matter, but we're just letting go of kind of that hardship and heartache that might have blocked you from feeling motivated or feeling content or connected. And let's replace that with trusting that you can accomplish all of these things that you're setting out to do, but doing it in a way that works best for you. So instead of like buy the book or the expectations of other people or the expectation that you put on yourself or any maybe negative cycles or habits that you have as well, maybe trusting that over time you can work on those things and then it doesn't all have to be done at once. So integrating more patience and more solitude as well. So trusting that when you need time for yourself, that you can take time for yourself and that the world isn't going to fall apart if you do that. And trust that you will find the spaces that you need to feel the way that you deserve to feel. And would you like to know what it looks like and feels like to be worthy or feel worthy of being yourself, just being you, being okay with who you are in the now, in the present? Would you like to also know that through some of your tough times that you are going to experience, because we all do, that you can find little tiny things to focus on that you love or appreciate, or can find something good in those things that you're doing or tasks so that they don't feel so tedious or uncomfortable for you? And if so, just say yes. And if you look into the future, looking at your finances in the future, in your life, if life is limitless, meaning you can have anything that you want, I want you to put a number on how much money you have in your bank. And then when it comes to your abundance, not just how much money you have, but your feeling of abundance, your space, your friends, the food that you eat, the clothes that you wear, the career that you have, how much time you spend on your career, and even some hobbies that you might have. Looking at that as the full picture, notice what comes up for you in that situation when you can pick and choose. Reminding yourself to breathe. Then I'm going to get you to look back at one past situation in your life that you feel like has blocked you from having all of this money in abundance. And just label it. Maybe check in with how old you were, what you had going on in your life at that time. And if you can even just bring a little bit of empathy and compassion towards yourself with that experience. And also for anyone else that might have been there in that situation too. Would you like to let go of any of the hardship or heaviness or toxic energy from this past situation on all levels? So that means past life, genetics, historical, and on a soul level. And let's replace that with trusting that you can attract these positive emotions that you saw in your vision moving forward. And we're going to say that or something better. And also trusting that you can have healthy communication when you go to attract these things into your life. That you don't have to stress about the words or the ways that you express yourself. Just trusting that the expression will find its way out of you and get to the people that it needs to. Again, in divine timing. Okay. Would you like to let go of any sadness that's coming up for you, or any sadness from the past, or any sadness that you've been exposed to on an energetic level as well, that you might have absorbed and somehow manifested into your body for whatever reason that we don't need to label? We're going to replace that with feelings of positivity, openness, awareness, intuition, passion, and healthy problem solving. So when you do run into a situation, you feel like, aha, I know how to fix this. That you can maintain your energy moving forward, so that when you go to do your tasks, you feel like you have enough energy to pursue the tasks that you have. And also trust that when you need rest, you can listen to what your body is telling you so that you can recharge and stay healthy, essentially. If so, you can just say yes to all that. Okay, and is anything coming up for you guys? Anything specific around that? Yes, no?
No, just a feeling in my throat. I feel like I need to,
Water?
like, yeah, all of a sudden.
Throat chakra. You wrote that down in your last night, didn't you?
Maybe,
Oops,
yeah,
hold it.
yeah.
Oh,
What's that, Joanne?
nothing.
Do you have something going on in your throat, Joanne?
No. It's
Okay.
pretty empty tonight. No.
Well, I know that Joanne was having some allergy stuff too. She mentioned that as well. And I was saying that sometimes there's physical things that are coming up that are energy as well. So would you like to clear any type of allergic
Yes.
reactions that you might be having to situations, people, places, as a result of being really sensitive, basically? And let's replace that with trusting that as time moves on, you can improve your health and how you relate to situations. And I'm going to say how you react to situations as well, that it's okay to continue to heal things that are coming up for you, so you don't have to suppress it anymore in the throat or in the heart. And if so, just say yes. All right. And do you guys relate to any type of sadness, pain, or suffering? Could be past related. We got the giggle out of her now.
I know. It's just that it's today I had a good day, even if I felt angry, but I felt it, and I almost ran on the beach to get rid of it, get
Good.
rid of the energy. So but I had a good day today.
Good, but you felt angry.
Yeah, but I dealt with it better than I would have, let's say, 10 years ago.
But do you think it was coming up because it's just like an old emotion that's resurfacing so you can release it?
You say that, and while I was walking, I was releasing it
Good.
and saying, if I need to know why, let me know. And if I don't, take it away.
Yeah. And I do that frequently. as well, where it's just like, I know I don't want to feel this way, so just tell me what's going on or just take it away because I need to know so I can do something about it. So that's great. So would you like to clear any pain, suffering, trauma, even any PTSD as well that's coming up around family dynamics, any type of like on a genetic level, on an ancestral level, any type of like that? I can't stand you feeling. Like I can't take it anymore. I give up. Any type of that. It just feels like suffering to me.
Yeah, accepting that you can't get along with everybody.
Mm-hmm. But any just any pain that's attached to that. Yeah, like that even though we're all one, we're not all getting along. Yep. And any type of attachment that you might have still to somebody else that you know is unhealthy because it might feel like the right thing to do. We just want to disconnect the cords. And let's replace that with trusting that you do have purpose, that you are important, that it is okay to take care of yourself, that it is okay to work on money, that it is okay to have money, that it is okay to have abundance and joy and life force energy, whether that's on a sexual level, whether that's on an intimate level, whether that's on a friendship level, whether it's just with the earth or with God or source, that it's okay to have those pleasurable human experiences that make you feel whole in your heart. And so just say yes. Good. And I'm just getting that it's really like what's coming up is just sometimes we have relationships where we know we need to let go of people and it sucks. It sucks when we don't like people. It sucks when people don't like us. It sucks when we do like people and we still need to let them go. It sucks when people die. It all sucks. But we want to, it's like we're letting go of the energy around having to cut the cords, to let go of the energy of souls. And it's not just souls as in people, it's also our attachment to comfort and our attachment to, it could be like you have a favorite tree and then somebody cuts your favorite tree down. It's just like this.
Oh my Lord, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah.
They cut like a 200-year-old tree
Mhm.
like today. And I was saddened about it. A tall tree. And then you just
Mhm. And and people might not understand, and that's okay, but that like there's a loss, right? That creates heaviness. Loss is heaviness. It just is. We can't avoid pain. We just can't. It's the way that it is. So it's maybe just being really gentle with ourselves. That's part of slowing down and holding space for ourselves as well. So just when I say and breathe, or when you add your gratitude to breathe, or when you go to set an intention to breathe, that might be a good thing to just affirm. When you go to affirm something, to just breathe and see that as a way of moving forward as well. Every time I breathe, this is like moving forward. And every time I hold my breath, that's me like hanging on to something old, because you don't need the tree, but the tree gives you air. But the thing is, you have more air than you realize sometimes, right? You have more resources than we realize. So it's just reminding ourselves how resourceful we really are within too. It's just what's coming up anyway. So I'm going to get you guys to just locate one area of your body that you might still be hanging on to some energy. It could still be in your throat, and that's okay. Don't judge it. And we're going to put a shape to the energy that's there. And we're going to put a texture to it, a color, a sound, and a size. We're going to very gently remove this outside of our body. And as if you're holding it up to the light, that could be a light source above you. But you're actually going to make the choice to charge that energy. So you're going to raise the vibration of that shape as if you're raising your whole energy. Rebooting. Renewal. And we're just going to see it kind of just become light. Charged light. We're going to ask it a question. What were you here to teach me? And just trust what you get. And then we're going to bring that knowledge and wisdom back into your shape. And then we're going to bring that shape back into your body. And this time just cleansing yourself, whatever way that looks like for you. Last night we took kind of like a waterfall with water because water was coming up. Tonight it feels more like just like the sun, the energy of the sun, the energy of the stars, and the power source that we have from the world and that we have from the universe anytime we want it. But we're much more resourceful than we realize. And that our planet really does give us everything that we need. And then we're going to integrate all of this energy, everything you agreed that you want moving forward, everything you said you wanted to let go of, we're just going to integrate it all. Trusting that we got exactly what we needed in this space. And as we take a deep breath, we're going to walk out of our Akashic records. Trusting that you can come back into your room, to your space. Notice how you feel in your space now, or how you feel about your spaces. Your outdoor construction zone, or your room that's not as clean as you'd like it to be. Just noticing how your mind feels about those things. You might feel like, okay, I'm gonna go do that right now. Or you might feel like, I don't give a crap if that's done
You're
in
in
the
my
next,
mind.
or if that's done in the next 10 years.
Uh-oh. No.
So just trusting in that process. And was there any type of reflection that came up for you guys over that or anything last night? Because Paulette watched, but she wasn't in here. So Joanne, you wouldn't know what she was feeling in relation. Paulette, do you want to share anything?
No, it was good. I don't know. I don't have any words. Sometimes I have a hard time with words. So.
Throat chakra.
But it's more of a feeling of just how can I say that? Like when you said you can come back into your body, I wasn't vibrating, but it kind of felt like I was the whole body. So it was nice.
Good.
Like a grounding, I guess, or I don't know.
Good. That's awesome. So you and Joanne are very much like in sync with each other, I feel.
I do too.
Especially with the earth element, because like so far I feel like Paulette's very like she appreciates quality, but at the same time isn't afraid to like have nothing. That's what I get kind of.
Thing, I'm like, because that's what your course intrigues me with, because my money relationship, I don't think about money ever. It's not something that I wish for, and like you said, it's probably like the way I've been raised. We were raised with nothing, but we were happy. Had everything we needed, and I guess that was ingrained in us. So wish upon a star, money is never the first thing that comes into my mind or my heart. I don't know. So it's hard for me to imagine even having $2 million, but I wouldn't even know what I would fix my house the way, like just
Mhm.
a house, and it would be pretty, but I don't need big things. I don't think I need to change that. I think
Mhm.
it's just wrong, but I don't know.
Yeah. Mhm. And that's where I feel like there might be some childhood stuff in there too, like as we
Oh,
as we dig, because yeah, sometimes we like going into contentment, sometimes we even become content with such small things that we forget about ourselves too, to be like, you know what, hey, I think I want like more, or I want to go bigger. And we can limit ourselves too, because we're like so zen and content that we have maybe lost touch with like that abundance factor as well, like that we could have way more, but we might be putting ourselves in this little box too.
Not
yeah.
necessarily meaning that we need more, but allowing ourselves to believe that if we wanted more, we could, it would be okay to
Mhm.
have more.
Yes, and it's not greedy to do, or it doesn't make you selfish or anything.
Humble or whatever. I guess
Mhm.
that comes right. I mean, that's I don't know. And I
Mhm.
mean, I had a really good childhood from what I remember.
Mhm.
Because I often hear people, well, like when they're talking, the more you go, like the more hardships you go like through it, the more healed you'll have. Well, if that's the case, I don't feel like I've had that many hardships. Well,
Mhm.
I don't know how to explain this. If that's
Mhm.
the case, I would be just me. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I feel like you, because you have so much strength to overcome everything, sometimes that's part of the overfire, where Leos kind of have that tendency too. It's like, you know, like let's go. But then
Yeah,
it's also okay to like, yeah, that's probably why Joanne too is like, oh, gotta calm it down with some water over here, bringing some ocean here. And it sounds like for you too, more just like mentally, just being like, okay, I need to get away, and maybe sometimes it's actually talking less and just being more in that meditation state. Because with Joanne last night, I was like, you know, pulling everything I could out of her to get her to talk, which is great. And then with Paulette tonight, I was like, okay, like let's just like think about all these things in our head and become aware of it. And you know, we don't need to label it, we don't need to analyze it, we can observe it and then just kind of like use our imagination and just like a little bit more like peace, I guess, kind of thing. So anyway, just a reminder that we're all different. And so yeah, that's how I, when I do my group settings, that it's just, I feel like in the Facebook group people kind of bond and they have their connections, and then like I kind of create content based around that. Anyway, so I feel like together you guys are like earth babies, like nature and contentment and meditation and grounding, and yeah. And then when you get that, it's like, all right, now I got that part in. Now it's like, bring on the money. Kind of thing. Anyway, but that's just, yeah. So I kind of wanted to touch on just how I guess I structure things. But in the program, we do it module by module. And I'm not fixated on things being around the module as much as it is just to give you guys some type of structure. So we have a little bit of focus if people feel like they're not sure where to organize themselves. So I kind of find my way through based on what people are saying in the Facebook group and what I'm feeling energy wise too. Because being an empath myself, which you guys are very sensitive, I feel that in between the calls too. So I'm pretty much aware of what people are experiencing, whether they tell me or not. But I really like to see people sharing what they're feeling and opening up. up to that, because I feel like it's more about the group coming together and kind of making some bonds with each other too. It's not just about me as your leader, but it's about you guys seeing like, hey, I'm not alone in these things, or we're all going through this together. Or maybe if you're a person that likes to help somebody else, it's kind of another opportunity for that too. Anyway, just want to throw that out there. And for people that are struggling financially, even if you're not, and you want to do a payment plan, that's also an option. So you just let me know if that's something you want to do. And even if you're doing the early bird special, it doesn't matter. My goal is to help people in this space. And so, yeah, if you have any questions, furthermore, just ask. Otherwise, hopefully this was informative for people and you kind of got some type of idea of how I work with Reiki, the Akashic Records, and Theta healing, and how we can tailor it into people, but still keep it related to some of the topics and goals that we're working towards. Cool beans.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for showing up. You didn't show your faces, but you showed up.
I'm here in body.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay.
Have a great night. Bye.